Hey, what's going on?
How are you, Chad?
You always come into this intro just like, oh,
Oh, hello.
hey,
We've started.
we did it. This is our first episode of All This Noise.
Yeah, we did do it.
We
did it.
actually do it. For those of you who don't know, this is the first episode of this podcast on the Brownies Lemonade Network. Valerie Lee and myself, Chad Kenney here, live from Icon.
Yeah, and I mean, I was trying to think about, what's our tagline? What's our cool thing? And here's what I came up with. You tell me what you think. Really, I think All This Noise is a podcast made for music fans, music people, by music fans and music people. Because that's really what we are, you and I. We come from, different parts of music background, but we share a lot of similarities in that I think we first originated truly as music fans.
Right.
And even through all the trials and tribulations of working in it and meeting all the crazy characters you meet and all that, we still love it, love to see all the different ebbs and flows of it. And personally, I think, there's so much music makes people feel so strongly. And there's so many things that people feel strongly about. And what I always love talking to people about is, what their opinions are on the crazy new trends or the crazy thing that happened over the weekend. And I'm just excited for this to be a place where we get to unpack it a little bit.
Yeah.
We get to share our thoughts and hopefully hear from, friends of ours, new friends, cool artists, cool industry people, and hopefully fans too.
And obviously some of your very unconventional takes from Coachella. No, I'm just kidding.
From all over the place.
From all over the place.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, well, my tagline was a little different. It was a podcast for the jaded. No.
Sometimes. I'm sure sometimes it will be.
Hey, but I think that I really like your tagline.
Thank you.
For
Yours is
music
nice
people,
too.
but also because I think that this is a place where we can, heal the jadedness,
Yeah.
Because All This Noise, it really does encapsulate that there is a saturation, there is, I mean, really a paralysis of choice.
Yeah.
An illusion, many illusions out there of choice and agency and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think these are all things that we are going to talk about. As you can tell, hopefully already, we both feel very strongly about all of these parts of music.
Oh, absolutely. I feel too strongly about it. I don't know.
Exactly. This man needed a podcast.
My voice wasn't represented well enough in the culture with a talk show and, the shows.
It's just because you have too much to say, Chad.
That's true. I told you I'm going to try to get it down to as close to 50-50 as possible for Val Chad distribution. But hey, sometimes it might be a little bit 40-60 Val Chad. Some days it'll be 70-30 Val Chad, hopefully. It'll be a Val episode.
Oh, man. We'll see what topic brings that out of me. It's going to be really fun. I'm honestly so excited to do this with you because I think we've known each other for so long and I love your opinions. I think your opinions are funny. I think I have a lot of opinions and I keep a lot of them to myself, I will say.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
You're a lot more guarded. I don't really post them publicly, but I feel like if I were to encounter anyone in the wild, but although I do like the way that you were able to express, like I was saying, an unconventional take that is kind of not controversial, just kind of the way that in which that things should be discussed. Like, was that really that good? Because I think we discussed this when we did one of our test podcasts, but like there is this sense that there is an audience for everything.
Yeah. And
you start to have an understanding of what the narrative that is forming, like the general narrative.
Yeah.
And it's very not cool to go against it unless you were like, you're just one of those people who's known for having an individual kind of unique voice. But most of the time, most people don't have that. And they kind of go along with, oh, I saw that, people were saying that it was this. But okay, but what was your take on it,
Right.
And that's what people have had to tell me a lot. My roommates, some of my close friends is like, why do you care what anyone else was saying about it? What are you saying about it? And I think that's a cool exercise to bring into this show.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like such a conversation, I think, around the genre of dance music, which I think both of us are largely rooted in. I don't think it'll be the only thing we talk about in this podcast, but I always love when I have a conversation with someone who's maybe a little less familiar with the genre or a little bit outside of it, and they're kind of like, oh, that's so interesting that you were like a journalist or whatever about dance music, because I feel like there's this stigma that dance music is so silly.
Yep.
There's like, it's so fluffy, or it's so like no one takes it seriously. And 100% there's a large portion of things that feel that way and that just simply are that in dance music. But there's also a lot that has a lot of history, has a lot of meaning, that maybe the newer generation doesn't know, that hopefully we can, provide some context for.
Totally.
And I'm excited to do that.
Me too. No, it's great. And you and I share the same sentiment about all that. I think, our first episode,
Yes.
we were lucky enough to have Alison Wonderland here.
Yes, we were.
We just recorded a great episode. We're excited for you to hear it. She talked a lot about a lot of the things that we want our guests to explore, I think.
Yes.
The process, the journey.
Mm-hmm. And
she
I think
described it as the pit, which,
yes,
you're
going to hear more about that.
Yeah. And the hero's journey, that would be described as the belly of the whale, which is like when you're at the lowest point. And, but also like, it's funny to hear her talking about that in reference to Whyte Fang, that someone who is so established and successful as her kind of went through that process again with a new project.
Yeah, I mean, I am so excited to share this episode because I think we caught her at such a beautiful time in her, not only her career, but her life as well. Talking about recently launching Whyte Fang, like you said, everything with Alison Wonderland, as we mostly know her. And then she's also quite literally 9 months pregnant. She's about to have a baby.
Quite literally.
But yeah, 9 months pregnant. The baby's coming out very soon. And obviously there's so much tied into that, being such a strong woman figure in a scene that still feels, male dominated. And
absolutely,
she's been doing it for a long time. So to see someone of her caliber do it with such style and grace, it's just great to hear what her experience has been like. So
yeah, and depending on when this goes up, this was recorded just about 3 days after she headlined. She was on the main stage at EDC. 9 months pregnant. So
was the baby.
So was the baby headline. The headliner is
the baby.
you and the baby.
Yes. Alison Wonderland +1.
No, but that was just an awesome conversation. We're really excited for you to hear it on the first episode of All This Noise.
Yeah, and there's more to come. So please enjoy.
Thanks.
All This Noise.
Great.
Cool. So you guys wanted to start and talk about Crocs?
I want to know how many Crocs you have.
I have probably 10 pairs.
10 of all different colors.
Yes, I have like army color, like a camo red. These were actually meant originally because I have not seen the movie, the Cars series. And my friend wanted me to do a Cars movie marathon with him.
Yeah, fair.
And I ordered the little gibbets.
Oh, where you can like put them on top,
and I was going to make a Cars themed Crocs for myself and my friend.
Yeah.
And then we never got to see Cars because I started feeling really sick every night from being pregnant.
Pregnancy.
Right? And so now they're just my normal Cars Crocs. I don't know. I still call them my Cars Crocs.
Did you get the giblets though?
I did.
Okay, great.
From Etsy.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of them. But I also felt like a fake fan because like I've never seen the movies.
Well, it's okay because when the baby comes, I feel like I do not have a baby, but I look forward to hanging out with other people's children to watch kids movies because I love kids movies.
Well,
so we can watch Cars.
I feel like I'm going to show my kids such like the movies that I grew up on, and I'm not sure if they're...
Which ones?
Like, I really love fantasy, but live action fantasy, but vintage live action fantasy.
Yeah. Labyrinth.
The Labyrinth, The Princess Bride.
Never-ending Story.
Never-ending Story.
But see, the Never-ending Story,
it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like creepy.
Yeah, it is kind of traumatic.
And I feel like I was rewatching Legend, which is one of Tom Cruise's first movies.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary.
Yeah, they are kind of scary.
And I never realized how weird shows were for us
They-
when
they
we
were.
kids.
They
It
were.
was like
But-
all like fever dreams.
See, I
Yes,
thought about this
exactly.
a lot. I think you need to scare kids, like because I mean the world is scary.
Oh my god, you sound like my fiance. Stop. I have like this fear that he's gonna show the kid like Nightmare on
Yeah, like
Elm
his work.
Yeah.
He's like, look at my
No.
movies. Just check it out.
I genuinely have this. We've had this conversation where I'm like, I'm not comfortable with you showing Nightmare on Elm Street, like no Freddy Krueger, no Friday the 13th, like nothing, please. And he's like, well, when I was a kid, I could watch whatever I wanted. I'm like, doesn't matter. Like even the Goonies for me is kind of creepy.
Oh, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
those movies,
yeah.
they were creepy in a different way because they felt more real.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like a lot of my visuals were really inspired by those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want the baby to watch less creepy versions. I don't know. I'm not a fan of CGI. I like kind of
Yes.
the
I
old
f-
school.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like it's weirder and cooler and
like it's a puppet. Maybe a man's hand is like.
No, but that's why E.T. was so freaky because it,
Yes.
it has like
It's-
a real texture to
it's
it.
practical
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of feels more, I don't know. When I look at CGI, I'm never charmed the same way. Even
That's
though,
Hardly
true.
ever.
That's a great
even though
point.
I know that they're, I don't know. I mean, Harry Potter, great movie.
Harry Potter's everything. We love Harry Potter.
But like, I just know that I see things. I'm like, I know that's CGI.
yeah.
Like even when
Yeah.
people have CGI elephants or whatever in the movies now, because you can't
Yeah.
use real elephants, which I agree with, and I'm not saying
You're like, bring the elephants back.
bring the elephants.
Just show the movies when we used to have them, though.
Yes,
You know?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter is different because you grew up
Yeah.
with the books.
Yes. And
And-
I remember like seeing that first Harry Potter at the movies, and it looked exactly like I saw it in my head.
Oh, good.
Did
I
you
know.
experience that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of thought they looked.
Yeah.
They cast the kids really well too,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they kind of grew up well, which is you
Yeah.
can't always predict that well.
I know.
Also true.
Yeah.
Very
It's
true.
actually so true.
I miss those
You know who
days.
grew up really well? Neville Longbottom.
I know Neville's a
He probably
Neville's a
out of
smoke
all
show.
of them the most.
came like-
he kind of
He
is.
came like a hunk.
Shout out to Neville Longbottom.
I remember when he came, like the last movies came out, and everyone was like, "Whoa,
I was like, who's that?
oh, Neville."
Neville's a
okay.
snack.
And that's like the moral of the story is, be nice to all the kids.
Yeah, someday they might be really, really
They
hot.
might become Neville Longbottom.
They
Right.
might be a hottie. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to all
Welcome.
this noise.
This is a good lead-in.
This
I love
is
it.
a great lead-in. Welcome to all this noise. I'm so excited and so honored and grateful that you're joining us because this is a music podcast made for music people, by music people. And we want it to just be a place where we get to talk about great music, great people making music, and the hot topics of music, and just kind of dive a little deeper. And many reasons why we're excited to have you. One, because we love you. Two, because I feel like both of us have seen you as Alison Wonderland through the eras, you know, the growth to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that besides the amazing music and shows you're playing and making, there's a lot to talk about
Yeah.
because you might not be able to tell, but she's very pregnant.
I'm very pregnant. I'm like 9 months pregnant right now, guys.
And you can't really tell, which is the funniest part as you're sitting
can
there.
Tell.
Yeah, how are you feeling in this moment? Because also that's the thing to say is that you are very close to your due date at this
Yes,
point. So
very
this is
close.
actually potentially
This
one of
is-
the last,
This is definitely the last thing I'm doing.
which I love. Again,
and obviously, I
honored.
couldn't say no. I love everyone here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But
Love you too.
also, you know what's funny is people kept asking me, "How are you doing EDC? Like, how are you getting through this? How are you doing Coachella?" My answer was, it makes me happy. I've been doing this for so long that it's so natural to me, and it's like the one thing that really makes me happy. And when I'm on stage, I didn't really feel aware of my body that much. And it's so second nature to me that it was just something that I was doing because it brings me joy. It didn't really feel like I was doing anything heroic. The doctors were very much monitoring me and everything, so we were taking all the right precautions.
Sure.
And if something wasn't right, I obviously wouldn't have played. And obviously there were some shows I couldn't make because I'm not allowed to travel that long of a distance, and I actually can't legally fly on commercial airplanes anymore, so I couldn't get to. I was trying to explain that to people because, but yeah, I mean honestly, it's my form of escapism. Even if I'm not feeling well, like I'll still, if I get up on stage, I'm happy and it goes quickly. You know, I just played EDC and I just wanted to get on stage.
Yeah.
I'm sad that I have 3 months off. You know, like I'm not sad. Obviously, I'm so overjoyed that I'm grateful to have this. But if I could do both at the same time during the beginning, I would 100% do it.
You turn to Ty. You're like, hold my baby.
Yeah.
I gotta go do some stuff.
That's literally been the conversation because, you know, once I get back, I'm like, on the weekends,
Yeah.
it's you and the baby.
It's on duty.
But you got to imagine that, like, your child's going to come into this world with that imbued that they just headlined.
No pressure.
Not
music
only easy,
festivals.
everything over the past like 2 months,
Yeah.
3 months that you've been performing.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think also when I found out I was pregnant, my mom was like, "Oh, play Bach and the Beatles like I did to you every day. This baby's only heard electronic music because I've been making albums. I
Yeah.
made like the Whyte Fang album, pregnant, and just been playing shows. So it's that, and then this is a fun. I mean, no one's heard this story. I had a terrible fall actually during my pregnancy.
Oh my gosh.
And I was in hospital getting monitored. What? Yeah, it was
know this.
gnarly. I know. I should have told you actually, but I had a really bad fall. I tripped. So I guess my center of gravity's off because I'm carrying so much weight, and I tripped over a hard suitcase in my hallway and fell on my belly onto the corner of the suitcase. And they were like really worried, and the baby wasn't moving, and we were freaking out.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't know if I should go to emergency, and we didn't until the next day. I called the doctor, and she was like, "Get here right now." But that night, we were trying to play things to the baby to see what would make the baby kick because there was no movement, and the only thing, it was an hour, and then Ty, my fiance, was like, "What if I played this song?" And he put on Bloodhound Gang. And the baby started kicking so much. And so now every time we put on a Bloodhound Gang song, it's like become a joke. The baby kicks.
I
So
wonder-
it's like electronic music.
Bad touch.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if
No.
that means the baby likes it or hates it.
I don't know. It's that and then like 4 to the floor, like 140 BPM techno is like another one.
Oh boy.
Really?
Start 'em young.
Yeah.
Techno baby. That's like the most reaction I get.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
None of
wait.
my singing records.
I can't wait till they're old enough for me to ask and be like, so what do you think about this genre?
You know what though? Low key, Bloodhound Gang,
Yeah.
that album's pretty good. Like I didn't give it the time of day until now.
Bloodhound Gang considered a one-hit wonder from the 90s.
No,
remember?
there's
was-
like a bunch of hits on there. I was
Okay.
like, whoa, they did this, and it's like mixed so well. If we're talking about musicians,
Right.
the mix of the album that we were listening to, I think they have a few.
They did Bad Touch though, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
You and Me Baby, None of
Yeah.
the Mammals. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that was like, I remember when I was in 5th grade, that song came out, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
this is like forbidden. Like
and it
I
was
shouldn't
so
be listening
naughty,
to this.
and we're all like singing it, and
Yeah,
we're like,
I
"It's
downloaded that
about
on
sex."
Napster. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
that's a throwback.
It was good. I liked when songs felt really naughty, and you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
No, it's something fun about it. It's like that's what electronic music opened up that other genres didn't always do. You know.
I feel like the one that for me, the thing that I always felt naughty about was Offspring. Smash was the first album I ever bought with my money. And there was this part where they're like, "You stupid dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker," and I used to scream
Yes.
it. And my parents would be like, "I'm like, it's part of the song,"
It's part of the song.
I'm just singing along. That's
Yeah.
all.
but I felt so naughty.
That I share that with you too. The Offspring was like definitely like an angst. You know,
It was fun.
you're able to get something out.
Dance around in your room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway.
it's funny though, because like when we have grandkids down the line, because we're talking about electronic music, I've always thought they're gonna listen.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, no, you're up next. But you know, I was thinking like if I show them like Justice. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Are my grandkids gonna be like, Pap, this music is so old. It was made on a computer.
I think
you
about
know?
that all the
Like,
time. The
because-
Justice is one I thought about.
Yeah.
Because it was so revolutionary when it came out. That whole album was 2007 or 2006?
Exactly. Yeah, 2007.
2007. And I remember my mind being blown
Mm-hmm.
hearing that. It was like Waters of Nazareth and Genesis, like all that whole album, and you know, they were playing like synths through guitar amps, and it was so
Right.
punk rock, and it felt so fresh and new. And like, I mean, that's all you would hear in the clubs.
But our future generations, our offspring, are they going to have that same,
I mean, they might. It could be like the Led Zeppelin of our time,
Exactly,
because
I think so.
I would listen to Led Zeppelin or the Beatles, and I wouldn't be like, oh, this sounds old. But
Right.
I mean, I guess.
No, I mean, but there's going to be more texture. There's going to be something to it that's going to be received differently for the young folk of the future.
I wonder if it will be like more of the senses will be involved or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think about
Whoa.
that. Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like smell and sound and taste. And I was actually getting interviewed recently about when I trip on psychedelics, and I was saying how.
I'm there with you.
And
Absolutely.
I was saying that one of the weirdest experiences I had, and I mean, I don't really do anything except shrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not now at all. Please, let's
Start 'em young.
Let's clear the room.
No. But like, I have also tried LSD. And when I did LSD, the weirdest thing that happened to me is I could taste the songs I was hearing. And it was the weirdest, like, synesthesia thing that I've ever experienced. Is it? I guess
That's what they call it, yeah.
And different songs or voices would have different tastes. And I wonder if one day someone's going to do that with music. I think about it all the time, or like a scent,
100%.
rather than that, or like, the room's shaking a certain way, or because we already have that with lights and visuals. So you've got visual and audio going, but imagine what else you can do.
I mean, I'm there with you. I feel like the goosebumps I've gotten from listening to music a certain way, it's euphoric. It's like above any of the other senses or stimuli ever.
Yeah, I wonder what is going to happen. I mean, it's either going to be that, or we were talking earlier about things coming in waves. It could just be like the most minimal thing. I'm seeing a lot of artists now go way more minimal with their production, just lights, or
right.
I mean, Fortet did the
his art lights.
Yeah, and then also when Skrillex, Fortet, and Fred again did the Coachella set. It was
super minimal.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
And I went to see Skrillex at Red Rocks, and he started DJing in the crowd, no production,
Minimal.
just minimal, just a DJ booth, and then the set itself, he played for 5 hours, but the set itself, just lights, just strobes, some lasers. And,
I mean, sometimes that's like, if you know how to curate a set, and for years I would play with no production, actually. You don't necessarily need it. But I think in some instances, if you're trying to put on a certain type of show, visuals just lift it to a different level, but then you can do the same thing. It just depends like what kind of set you're making, really.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting too, because I think there's a level of expectation now where some artists feel like they have to develop that side.
Yeah.
And I respect, the Fortet example of an artist that just commits to doing the minimal or doing what
I mean,
they
I
feel
feel
is
like
the
it
art
looks
version.
minimal, but that was
Of course.
probably really difficult to pull off.
Yeah, very highly programmed art piece. In its own way. Yeah.
That it
simplicity is hard to execute. I mean, that's
exactly.
yeah. And it just looks
Perfectly said.
Well, no, but because I'm interested to get your take on this, because you've seen a whole evolution throughout your career, but it feels like there's a whole new generation discovering at this inflection point that is very basic. Like they're discovering mashups for the first time.
Yeah,
and stuff
it's so
like
weird
that.
because mashups was such a big thing when
Back in our day.
Well, no, I'm kind of surprised because
back then it was not just about being a producer. There was also separately there was just DJs. So just DJs who weren't producing music.
Right.
They were doing these crazy mashups
Right.
live, like DJ AM, A-Track, like, you listen to all of that and it was just so cool. And then you had like too many DJs
and even like Girl Talk.
I was about,
I was just listening to Night Ripper the other day, and the amount of samples and just like, you would just be like, wow, it seems like it was almost ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And now it would be, I don't know how it would be received.
Everything comes in waves.
It is, yeah, it's so interesting.
It's going to be good. I think I get excited. I'm really excited. Recently, just the newer generation of artists that are coming out, like electronic artists, are really exciting me, and it feels like a resurgence. It feels like when I started, and that's part of why I wanted to launch my record label, because I don't want people to feel the pressure of having to be content creators right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to give someone a platform to put something out who I heard on SoundCloud, who I believe in, who I'm a fan of, who excites me musically and creatively. And I'm just stoked at what I'm hearing and seeing right now. Really.
Tell us a little bit more about the label for those who aren't familiar.
FMU Records, Fuck Me Up Records. It's been in the pipeline for a really long time. We finally did it this year. I've already released things with John Casey, DeBow, Something Something, Alias. We had Sippy, Whyte Fang, which is me, Nepotism.
Hello.
She got her foot in the door.
And then we're about to release with Quix's side project. It's a D&B project, Frederick, and it's insane. Like, I heard it and kind of lost my brain. I just said to him, I need to sign this. Like, let me just put something out.
That's awesome.
And it's just so good. But honestly, I'm so excited about everything I'm hearing musically. And whenever I'm playing like a main set, if it's not my music, it's always an up-and-coming SoundCloud artist. Always. Like, that's the beat that I put in.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't know if you call it a SoundCloud artist anymore, but like an up-and-coming producer.
Yeah.
They're still putting their stuff on SoundCloud.
Yeah, like
I
more
think.
underground, but I feel like those beats I get attracted to more because they're not overproduced, they're minimal, they hit hard, they're interesting, they wake me up a little bit.
So that was the biggest like driving force behind Whyte Fang. You
What?
think is just like being inspired by those.
No.
I'm just interested how that.
No, Whyte Fang was actually started before I even started Alison Wonderland.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when I signed my record deal back in 2011, I said to Garth, my manager, I wouldn't sign it unless they took Whyte Fang out of the contract.
Smart.
Yeah.
And
Very smart.
I always knew I was going to bring it back. It was a very different side of me. It was more industrial. My vocals aren't on it. It feels like there's, I release a lot of music under Alison, and a lot of those beats are in that music, but it's never highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted a home for those beats and those sounds within my music where they would be heard properly and noticed. Because when you're signed to a label and you're singing and there's more obvious tracks that a label wants to push out, which I'm very proud of and I love as much as I do Whyte Fang, the more minimal, like industrial beats, they're not getting the attention that I would love them to get. So
Yeah, I think there's also something to be said about your music as Alison Wonderland. I think feels so new and different because it's so personal and you're so vulnerable.
It's very, very
The
personal.
lyrics are so very much
Yeah.
like from you,
Yeah.
which I think as an artist can be very difficult also.
It's
to
incredibly
be so
difficult.
vulnerable all the time. Yeah.
Yes, and it is draining because
Yeah.
I'm in there, I'm giving my all, and then you put it out, and like the world's just fucking judging you and
Right.
hearing your story and your diary.
And people weren't really doing that a ton in mainstream
No.
electronic music or
No.
even
Especially
in
when I
most-
started, it wasn't a thing, and people were trying to put me in a box and they couldn't. And it was like I had to fight through that. I was
Mhm.
getting like criticized a lot, and even my Mixmag set,
TBT.
which is like the highest to
The
this
highest
day.
viewed one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
still.
it's like
yeah.
16 million views or something, or 15 million, something stupid.
numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Yeah.
It went like full on viral, and you can see my hands the whole time. I'm like scratching. Also, that set was completely improvised because
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was like what Mixmag was. I was
Mm-hmm.
so naive. Like I literally, Garth was like, "Oh yeah, you're doing this thing," and we turn up and
Yeah. He's like, have fun.
yeah, we didn't
Which
know
you
that
did.
it was going to be
Yeah.
what it was.
Yes.
We didn't. And I just had my USBs and I just played. And I think I played for an hour 20. It was supposed to be like an hour. And I was just like having the best time DJing. But I'm scratching, all this kind of stuff. And people were still saying I was not actually DJing. When the fucking camera was on my hands, you could see like the decks, you could see the mixer, you could see the lights on when I was like doing that. And it was such a fight back then for me to be understood, even as like any type of artist. But now, you know, I don't give a fuck. And it's obviously, I can back myself up.
Yeah, I mean, the
Like,
track record speaks for itself, you know?
But yeah, with Whyte Fang, I'm really, you know, I wanted to work with other vocalists. I felt like it made more sense to not do it with Alison because it's so much me and my lyrics and my vocals. And so that was really cool. You know, I worked with some really great people on the last record. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk about Whyte Fang because we talked a little bit about, you know, the different thought processes behind putting together a full show, visual elements of it.
Yes.
And you just had a really it feels like a long time ago now, but it wasn't that long ago where you just had this big debut moment with Whyte Fang.
It went better
to Coachella.
It went better than I ever would have thought. It's so crazy because I was also like the highest spiking Spotify artist of Coachella. And we went up 2,000%.
Which is amazing.
I thought that was a made-up number.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was
It
made
sounds
up.
like it.
But it wasn't. And I called Garth. I'm like, is this real? He's like, yeah, it's real. I'm like, what the actual fuck? 2,000%? So thank you if you did listen to the record.
Well, it's good to know that. Well, I'm just thinking that it's good to know that it's still discovery at the festival because you would imagine that most people are kind of a little bit more tuned out now.
I feel like this I was wondering about that because when I first played my first Coachella in 2015, it was all about the discovery, and people would sit and read the lineups and the smaller acts, and they would go in and they would discover it and they would listen to everyone's music, and it was like way more of a discovery culture back then. So I was wondering if that would happen this year. I was worried no one would turn up. We had like overflowing tent, which was also crazy.
And you were playing against other big names too, so you're
I mean we weren't sure how it was going to go, but either way I would have been proud because it was very much a very true vision of mine that I'd had since before I even signed Alison. I wasn't in the forefront of the performance. I was inside like an LED cube that was transparent, and when I wanted visuals I had them, when I didn't. And the only time you saw me is when I was lit up in black light, and my whole outfit was designed to only be seen in black light. Like in normal light, it just looked black. And then,
and your belly was out, which
my
I
belly
liked.
was out. It wasn't actually supposed to be out, but then we just,
it felt right.
Yeah, it felt right.
It was awesome walking up on the Gobi and seeing that from a distance, and then just walking into that space.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people discovered that show from walking past and getting.
Yeah, because it was so. I felt like every part of it was so well thought out.
It was very heavily curated.
Very heavily curated, and I know you worked super closely with
Tyler.
Yeah,
and
your
Dave
visuals
Fellis.
guys.
Yeah, I mean that show took me from August 2022 till Coachella to make.
And you started pre-Coachella booking, right?
Yes, I started pre-Coachella booking, and I said to my agent, I begged him, I said, get me a slot at Coachella. I'll do anything. I'll make an album. Like, I'll do it. Because I know what I can do with this. And I know
the album was not done.
There was no album. There was like songs and a bit of the album, but there was no album. And I said to him, if they see this show, and we had like a show at the Roxy, tell them I'll get the fucking album. I'll get a fucking album and I'll do it. And I'll do it for Coachella and it'll be done. And I did. I got the booking and I'm like, fuck, I got to make an album now. And so it was the best thing I could have done because I was feeling so creative at the time anyway. And the music that was coming out of me was very much what belonged on that album. So it was very serendipitous. I feel extremely proud of that whole body of work, and the plan is to tour it once the baby's out and play more shows with it. But I was just it felt so fresh to me, and it was such a different side of my brain that I wanted to really focus on and highlight visually everything I had in my head. I remember like having a shower and seeing there's this visual of the Whyte Fang girl like riding a bike in a red hoodie, and I saw it in my head, and I sat and I said, this is what we're going to do. and we made it happen, and it happened exactly how I saw it in my head. There was the drumming, the Whyte Fang girl drumming live, which is actually, we filmed that all ourselves. I had this idea of this girl in a box getting stuck in there, and we had that, and it was exactly what I had in my head. Every single visual. I worked with Tyler, and Tyler and I have this like really amazing creative relationship. He does my visuals for Alison as well, where he really sees into my mind. I can't program visuals. I can't make visuals. Like, let's be real. But I can tell him something, and he will be seeing the exact same thing. And it is such a special creative connection. And it was, I'm so lucky to have him working with me.
Yeah.
Just because you could pair him with someone else, or you could pair me with someone else. It's not going to be the same. Like, I've worked with people on visuals before, but yeah, it was really our baby. And then Dave Fellis on lights, who also helped execute the cube. I've known Dave for over 10 years from Australia, and he now works with me here. And it just felt like this was our show. Even Cody, my tour manager, and I got to shout everyone out, Tebow, who's my production manager, and Garth, like, we were all, and Tracy worked, who's here, she worked on the outfit. Like, that was all DIY, but we were all like in this together, like going through this thing just to get my vision materialized. And when I looked back at the show, it was like the most precise I've ever seen a thing come out from my brain into this reality.
Yeah.
This tangible reality. What is reality anyway? This could just all be a simulation, and this could be a DMT.
More likely than not.
Yeah. But like, I saw it, and I was just like, holy shit, this is what hard work does. And like, there's this thing that I learned about called the learning pit, which a friend of mine who's a snowboard coach told me about. And it's about when you try and do something very difficult and execute it and level up as an artist or an athlete or someone who works in an office. Doesn't matter. Anything in life. You want to learn how to cook. You want to be a mother. Like, there's a thing called the learning pit, where you start off here and you know that that during this experience, you're going to have to go into this deep pit where you're questioning why you're doing this, and it's going to be difficult. But you just have to know that whatever the deepest you are in that pit, you can get out.
Yeah.
And so I would be in this fucking pit making this album and trying to get these visuals done and tearing my hair out. And no one sees that part of the iceberg at all. But I knew that I could dig myself out of that pit if I just kept going. Like, visualizing a pit for me, like every album and every time I'm going through anything difficult in my life recently has really helped me.
Yeah. You gotta hit the low lows.
And I have a song on Loner called Forever, which is basically the pit, the line, it'll feel like forever until it doesn't, is like a verbal version of the pit.
Right.
And so if anyone is listening out there or watching, like, it's hard things are fucking hard. And that's the fact. If you want to reach something at a certain level, you have to push yourself into the pit to get out of the pit to evolve. Yep. And it's not easy, and it's not fun. It's like the fucking worst.
Yeah,
but then when you see your vision come to life, whatever it is the most highest of highs that you can ever get. Not like, I don't know, sex, drugs, like pissing when you really need to pee. Like, it doesn't come close to that feeling of achievement.
Yeah.
It's like this rare air. Like, how many, I don't know, I just think about it. I don't know how many people I know, I don't know how to put this, but just like seeing exactly in my brain something come out into this world exactly how I visualize it is the trippiest feeling.
Yeah, and very few people get to experience that.
It's so trippy.
I was going to say, too, I mean, obviously there's so much work put into the show from, you said August 2020 is kind of when you first started even thinking about it.
2022.
2022.
Yeah. That's when we started thinking about the new show, yeah.
Yeah, when you first started thinking about it. But it's also an accumulation of everything you've done just as an artist in general. You know, everything that you've learned and gone
Yeah.
through with Alison Wonderland,
I
it all
really-
goes into
I
this.
don't think I would have been able to do what I did with Whyte Fang if I hadn't had the experience of doing what I've done with Alison. And you know, there's so many fails that I've had doing this. But I don't see them as fails. Like I really don't. Every time you can't be scared of failure when you're doing this, and you have to be okay with taking risks and it not paying off, because most of the time it doesn't. And that's another part of icebergs you don't see.
Well, this is really important because I feel like this is kind of like why we want to do the podcast. But like
Yeah.
what you're describing with the pit is basically the process, right? Like
Yeah.
people, I think now are a little bit more results oriented than process oriented.
Yeah.
They don't feel like actually having to fail should be part of the journey. Like how do we fast forward through that part? How do we skip through the part where like
And it's also stuff
you
you
know.
never see it because we're such like a instant gratification, everything's
Highlight
filmed,
reel.
highlight
Yeah.
reel
Yeah.
culture now, where I think about it all the time when I'm not like young anymore, but I'm still at an age where I want to like try new things.
Oh yeah,
and I
you're
get
like
so
70.
yeah, I'm up there. but even I can feel it in my head sometimes when I'm thinking about like, oh my gosh, I don't want to fail, like I don't want people to see me embarrassed or whatever. But that's exactly how you move past where you are.
Oh
if
my
you never
God.
do that, you just stay in the same place.
I've had so many fails.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to have fails.
And you have to. And look where it's gotten you. It's
I
because
mean,
you take the risk and you try.
anyone who sets out on this is going to have to, there's a point in time where I was about 8 years in my career still posting flyers on Facebook that I'm DJing, and I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, oh, he's still doing that thing, and
But I mean, it takes 10 years to even get past that.
right.
Yeah.
Because fucking same, dude.
And
Right, and
everyone-
We've
you
spoken
can
about
really-
it before.
yeah.
Like I was like DJing and like I was producing in this little time. I mean, my early studio was my bed,
Right.
and like I couldn't fit anything else in my bed, so I had this like double bed, and I had decks on one side, and then like a laptop speaker plugged into my. And I think early on my Instagram, if you scroll back to the very early thing, there's a picture of my early setup, but it was so not good. But I was making music, and then at night, like 6 nights a week, it was I was DJing
Yeah.
like 5 to 8 hours a night
Yeah.
in the clubs, and I mean not just clubs, the bowling alley, like at the the
the restaurant,
at
the local
but
bar.
Seriously,
Yeah.
No, you're paying
everywhere.
your dues.
I was
Yeah.
someone's corporate birthday party, like I was doing everything, and it wasn't. At the time, I actually didn't really think there would be a result from it. I was just happy to be here.
Yeah.
But it takes years and years, unless you're really lucky and you have like a viral moment, especially now. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot in interviews, but you're going to hear a lot of no before you hear yes, and that is normal. And like the amount of times I was told, we don't like your voice. This music doesn't make sense. We don't know where to put and then I worked on making it so it was undeniable that they could not play me on the radio, especially in Australia. We built a community without radio. I was throwing warehouse parties. I was releasing these songs. I was like, okay, they're not going to support me. The label's not going to support me. Whatever, I'll just DIY. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
And Garth was doing it back then. I played there was 250 shows all over a year. I would turn up to a pub and I had a suitcase with a lighting rig in it and set it up. I'm not even joking. And there'd be 30 people there, and I'd take one photo and be like, this show is good. And I built a following off just doing it.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where people started to follow me, and it became undeniable for the when I put out a song for the radio to just ignore it. To be honest,
Yeah. I think I love hearing your origin story and the origin story of, a lot of the artists that we know of today, because I always think to now it's so fun to watch artists go through that journey, and I think it feels really vulnerable.
For you.
Yeah, exactly.
The artist is like
Exactly. And I think but it's such a good reminder, and that's why I think it's so important for people to share the stories of how and where you came from, because you've got to, and there's so many artists now that I feel like, again, back to the whole like instant gratification culture thing, where I think that they see the highlight reels of everyone else and they're like, why am I not there yet? Or
it's really hard. And also it's not just instant gratification, it's instant judgment.
Yeah.
You could put something out and then everyone has oh my God, sorry. This is a pregnancy symptom.
That was good. We should sample that. That was clear.
This is real life right
clear
here.
Audio. Put that in a DAW right now.
Don't pretend like you're embarrassed.
Yeah, Quicks can make a banger out of that
burp proudly all the time.
Oh yeah, he sampled my burp.
Actually, he's already done it.
Yeah, he has.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Wait.
See, I already thought.
I'd send him a vocal once, and or like something had happened, and I'd done a burp, and he had a recording of it, and he asked me if he could sample it in a track. I think his last EP, my burps. I'll tell you one thing: Safe Life on my last album. There's like just before the drop, it goes like doo doo doo, and then in that sound is my burp.
No way.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
What?
We're gonna pull this up for reference.
Yeah.
How did that come to be? Like, how did you decide that needed to be
the texture would sound cool with the drums. No joke.
I mean, I get it when you explain it that way.
Yeah.
The texture of a burp.
There's
I
no
fully
rules.
Get it. There's definitely no rules. Not in your studio.
Is this the first time you revealed this? Because
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do people know?
No, I don't think so. Wait. That's my burp.
Wait, the like
Blah, blah, blah.
the
Yeah.
bubba part?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then also, that's my cello, that sound.
Oh,
but
that's
anyway,
awesome.
but yeah, that's
The many sides of you.
Yeah.
The burp and the cello.
The burp and the cello refined. And
that is a burp. That's layered with a burp. And I was like, it was literally like a, I don't know. I can't do it now. You can sample the other one. But it was like, whenever I sing, I always get air caught. And it's really hard when I'm playing a live show and I'm live singing because I'm always scared I'm going to burp on stage.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
It has.
It has. No one's called you out on it, though.
Like, like, no
See?
one is.
This is the real behind the scenes.
I
of the
burped like
show.
5 times and just done this, so just had to.
Well,
Yeah, little did
own
you
it.
know.
You gotta burp. Yeah, I didn't want to burp into the mic while you were telling a story
you
about.
can't be scared to fail. We were just talking about this. Take some risks.
I know. I just I seem
Let the
very.
people know.
Seems like I would be very much burping on your origin story. So.
It's totally fine. Burp on so many people have burped on my origin story. I don't care.
Well, actually, I think Valerie was getting at this, but I'm also interested since you've been here. Like, I think SoundCloud. We were talking about SoundCloud and Hype Machine was a big inflection point for you. That's kind of like when you had your breakthrough.
Yeah.
But since then, EDM has always been like a boys' club, electronic music in general. But what are some of the positive things that you've seen throughout? Maybe that you've even indirectly or directly contributed yourself.
I've recently seen a lot more women in electronic music get accepted earlier.
Yeah.
Whereas I wasn't seeing that as much, and I know it's still hard, and I know they still get shit. I was speaking to Level Up about it, or I was speaking to Subtronics about it, and his fiance is Level Up.
Level Up, yeah.
And I see it sometimes online, and I'll just stand up for the girl who it is. Like, I remember someone was like, actually, yeah, it is what it is. And the thing is, like, you have to come in there prepared knowing that might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying, like, there's plenty of young female DJs who post a reel, they're playing at a massive festival, and you're still going to get the comments like, she's not doing anything. It's like the exact same thing that any other person is doing up there, but
they're probably doing more.
right, yeah.
Let's be
Right.
real.
And they're going to have to fight through
because
more.
they know those comments are
But
coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I mean, the good thing is I am seeing a lot more, like, especially in the techno scene. It's like so many women are like at the top above the men.
So good.
And it's so good, like you have like Charlotte DeWitt, Amelie Lenz, like it's just cool.
Yeah.
I just love it because, and I think this relates so very much to you, is that, 5-10 years ago, we didn't see it. So people just didn't know that could be the way it is, People just assumed it's all men, and
yeah, it was just like a lot less.
Yes.
And I think, there were still women killing it. But it wasn't as highlighted, and I think that they were probably pushed down more than they should have been. People tried to do that to me, and I was like, ha ha ha, fuck off. I'm gonna headline.
I love that mentality.
You just have to keep going, and it's really hard. And the thing is, you can read like 1,000 positive comments, and then there'll be one, and you just think about it and stir over it and stir over. I was talking to a very, very famous pop star about this recently, who I won't name, but I was talking to her about it, and even she was like, oh man, there's this one comment. I was like, dude, you get like 37,000 comments like every post, and she's like, I know, and I'm like,
The one.
but I'm like, fucking same, like you'll see it, and I'll just be like, I'm not gonna write back.
That was one of the things about early SoundCloud. You'd see hundreds of positive comments.
Yeah.
You'll fire, and then the one negative is like the
Be like,
artist.
that snare
comments,
sucks.
Claps back immediately.
It's like the worst snare I've ever heard, and you just be like, that's the snare I fucking spent like 3 days trying to fucking find.
You know what it is though?
I just use the same snare all the time.
Well, I mean that's how you get back at them.
If you listen to the Whyte Fang record, there's like 3 snares. That's it.
Hey,
It's like a
if
joke.
it works, it works. You
It's
know.
like my tour manager's like, ugh, the snare, the Alex snare that you
The
always
Alex
use.
snare.
Yeah.
You can name it the Alex.
It's
snare.
yours.
Yeah, there we go.
It's not mine.
I think that when you engage those people though, like they're so not expecting that, and then a lot of people will either, they'll walk back what they said, or they'll like reason what. I think it's just that people think they're shouting into the void.
I mean, the only time I engage is when I have a really funny comeback, and I'm like, this would be a shame to like waste.
There's like,
and I'm not like sitting there crying. I'm like on Twitter, and I'm like, this is gonna be funny, and it's gonna make someone pissed. And when I know that it's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
I used to clap back a little bit more, and now I also don't really read it as much. I put my phone down a little bit more.
that's good.
Yeah.
You keep track of your screen time?
No, because listen, I'm like really addicted to Bejeweled.
Oh.
What?
You didn't know this about me?
No.
I spent money.
Oh,
I have, like,
it's like
fucking
that, like
problem.
microtransactions. Okay.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm talking about it.
Wow.
Are you like
is this an
highly ranked on
exclusive?
Bejeweled?
Very high.
Really? Okay. I want to know the
No,
number.
we don't.
Do you know the number?
I
off the top of your
literally
head?
like send updates to my tour manager when we're not touring,
God.
and he's just like, "You are fucking. You saw me do this. She's
We're getting a nod of
the Bejeweled
confirmation. Okay, I didn't know this
like
about
I'll
you.
be sitting on the phone and I'm just like playing Bejeweled.
So if
'cause
we
it
ever
keeps
see
my
you
brain-
looking really busy and occupied, like you're like texting furiously, it's actually you just playing Bejeweled.
and so my screen time
aggressively.
is irrelevant because it's
Right.
very
Right.
Because
it's
it's
just
high.
Bejeweled has skewed it through the roof. I get that. That makes sense.
I feel so exposed
I
right
like
now.
that. No, I actually really
everyone
like
has their
that.
thing.
My Crocs.
Sudoku, Crocs,
Bejeweled.
Bejeweled.
DJs, they're just
Well,
like
see,
us.
the reason why I didn't get into Crocs is because, like, you were talking about the little things you put in there. It's like the little giblets.
Clearly your feet are not happy.
Yeah, you could be a happy.
I just thought that once because I went to a swap meet and they had like thousands of like the customization
The
things you
gibbet
could put in.
things?
Yeah, I was like, this is too deep. This is like way
Why
too
didn't
deep
you
of a
bring
rabbit
me?
hole.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that would be a
Melrose
good-
Trading Post at Fairfax
There's
High
a
School
spot.
every Sunday.
Catch me there.
Bring the baby.
Bring the Crocs.
Once you get through that period,
and the Crocs.
bring the
Are there
baby.
There are baby.
There's gotta
oh
be
my
baby
god.
Get the baby Crocs.
Why didn't I get those for you?
Well, there's always
Still time. There's still time.
Yeah, G got me so Simply G, he got me baby Vans. And I'm like, very cute. Every time I see baby Nikes, I'm always like, oh. But
It's what a waste.
yeah, I just feel like
Usable for 3 months.
yeah, exactly. Like 1 month.
Well, I want to talk about something because, you were just talking about women, the dance scene, how things are getting better. Now you were actually talking about, talking to other stars and bonding about things.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we haven't even talked a lot about what it means to be pregnant and a woman
Right.
in this
Oh.
field of work.
It's funny. Another artist I was talking to was Grimes,
Yeah.
and I'm speaking to a lot of like not even in my scene, like just a lot of women who are mothers, like
Yeah.
actresses, and
Artists,
who are in
creatives.
the arts at the moment. And I seem to have been getting the weirdest like circle of what's the joint where people pass the joint around, like
Yeah.
My text messages right now are from like the weirdest. What's it called?
Rotation.
Joint
Yeah.
rotation.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
think about these people.
Dream blunt rotation.
Yeah, I think it would be someone's dream blunt rotation.
Yes.
Yeah,
The baby blunt.
I was saying to Grimes, and she said something. She's like, it used to be like not cool, to
Right.
be but now it's like punk rock.
Yeah.
Right. I
yeah.
love
Like
that.
I feel cool. I feel fine. Like I don't feel any different. Yeah. I mean, like, fuck. I just played EDC main stage, and Dolce and Gabbana asked to dress me. Like,
That's
Looks
awesome.
great. You
Yeah.
look fantastic
The
while
photos are
doing
fire.
it.
Well, that's it. That is
Like,
interesting. That the punk
I don't
rock
know
aspect.
if that would have happened 10 years ago.
Probably not,
I think-
because it wasn't cool to be married or have kids or any of that. And I think maybe this next generation or this generation is kind of taking it back on
I don't
their
really
own
know what
terms, right?
cool is. Like
Right.
the thing is, like, it might not be cool, but I'm not trying to be cool. I'm just like
That's true, but
trying
that's
to live
cool.
my life.
But not trying to be cool.
I mean, I think it
that-
just comes down to like, I mean, even at the beginning when we were asking you just like how you're doing post EDC and being really busy,
yeah,
it just feels as though I love that your answer is just like you're happy,
Yeah.
even though
I'm
people
happy.
assume that it's going to be hard and you're going
it
to be
is.
tired.
And the thing is, like, it is hard.
Of course.
And the other thing is, every pregnancy is different, and every pregnancy has hard things to it. Physically, it is very hard. Emotionally, it's very hard. But I'm so grateful to fucking be here. I'm so grateful to be able to carry a child. I'm so grateful to be able to play main stage at EDC, to be able to play Coachella, to be able to create an album pregnant, to be able to create a record label. Like, I'm grateful. And like, losing so much in my life and going through so much traumatic shit has prepared me to be able to go through hard times and be grateful for what I have.
Yeah.
And so I want to get up on stage. I want to play. Like, I've always been like that. So for me, it makes me happy. And again, like, no one should be able to comment on your pregnancy but you, because they don't know what you're going through, and they don't know, like again, if I was in a compromised situation, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be playing EC. I'd be in bed. But I get checked. I'm very careful.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I think just because I've always pushed myself really far as a person, I'm just naturally very, I don't know, at Christmas, my dad looked at me and just was like, do you ever like stop? Like, he's like, the whole time I've known you as a person, your brain's constantly like this. That's why I don't do drugs, right? It's literally probably one of the reasons. I mean, I also don't think they're very good for you.
Well, that's
But,
true. That's a secondary problem.
But like, I can't drink coffee. When I have boba, it's like game over. I'm like so hyper.
So you have that natural energy. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like, Tracy will be like, I keep her, Tracy's over here, but like she works with me, and like Garth, everyone's just like, you just don't stop. You just don't stop.
But I mean, it's better to have a really packed schedule because
I think my brain just doesn't stop. Like,
right.
That's what happens when you're excited and happy and
but I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Like, even when I wasn't happy, like,
fair.
like I've never stopped. Like, otherwise I wouldn't be where I'm at, you know? And like, my brain just doesn't let me stop. And there's a joke that I'm going to be like giving birth on the phone. So we're going to get this is probably going to happen because my brain is like so, it just like, it's like I'm on like a Red Bull naturally.
Wow.
That's how I feel, especially with work.
Must be nice. Which is why you're saying you're already excited for your post-maternity return.
I'm so excited. I got Red Rocks, like, I don't know.
Is that going to be the first show back?
No, my first show back's North Coast, September 3rd. And then I have some other ones that I don't think have been announced yet, which are really exciting. And then, Red Rocks, Friday the 13th of October.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's going to be
in October.
Yeah. It's going to be sick because, like, I'm planning a very different type of show. I feel like I'd be doing a very similar AW show for a while. So,
And sorry, this is the third Red Rocks headline?
no, it's my
Fourth? Fifth?
fifth,
Fifth.
maybe?
Wow. That's impressive.
I don't remember.
But you've done multiple days.
Yeah. There's been, like,
on year, same
many
here.
days of it. Because, some years they give you 2 nights. Some years they give you 1.
Is that your favorite venue in the United States?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and I like the Gorge, too.
Is baby going to come with you?
Yes, because I found out I was pregnant actually when I played Red Rocks last year.
Oh,
The day.
that's awesome.
I was like literally yeah, I took a test. And Ty was backstage with me and I was just like pregnant.
Wow, that's an unbelievable full circle moment.
That is gonna be
And I was
very
told
full
like if I
circle.
found out I was pregnant, I wasn't allowed to raise my heartbeat.
You're like,
And I called the doctor and she was like, "Don't raise your heartbeat." And I'm like, "Oh, listen,
no,
I'm
that's gonna.
playing Red Rocks. It's for like 2 hours,
Small little intimate.
and I
thing.
don't know if you've seen me play, but
May raise my heartbeat a little.
it's just gonna like." And then I called my mom, and she was like, "Oh, just go hard." In the '80s, like I went hard, and you don't want a precious baby.
That is true.
And I was
mean,
like, "That's cool."
Fair.
So
she does
I-
have a point that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
former generations went real hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah. I mean, I don't know what they did.
She's like, you'll be fine.
yeah,
It's
she
all
was like,
good.
in the '80s, we were doing things.
Yeah,
We were doing things.
there's a reason why we're so overprotective now.
Yeah.
Let's be
Oh
honest.
my gosh, that's gonna be amazing.
That was
though.
crazy. And like at the end, because no one knew, at the end of the show, I told my tour manager, because obviously he had to know. He brought me sparkling apple juice and I pretended to drink champagne, but it was fake.
Wow,
Yep.
that's gonna be
I was a
so
faker.
lovely.
Sparkling apple juice kind of great though.
To be honest, like going through this and like discovering mocktails has been really fun.
Yeah.
Because they make them really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you can't
especially
have-
now.
you can't be tipsy. Cool. We're gonna give you like a colorful thing with fun little things
Fruits
around.
inside.
Yeah, like fruits and fun little things and
Yeah, cheers to mocktails.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this Trader Joe's like lime and jalapeno thing that I
Ooh.
mix with like sparkling water. At the moment, I pretend I'm drinking like a.
Fancy,
Yeah.
fancy schmancy cocktail.
But if I was to drink something after the baby's born,
yeah, what are you most looking forward to?
there's like two.
yeah.
I want cold sake.
Ooh.
Like I just want like I just want to sip it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like I want to get wasted. Or I want a Bloody Mary with like one of those like little hamburgers on the straws.
Oh, a hamburger.
You know the little
Yeah, like the very extravagant Bloody Marys at like in West Hollywood,
Yeah,
you
Right,
go
right, right, right.
and
there's
get
like
like a whole
olives
meal.
and hamburgers.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
What a specific craving.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Was that a thing you liked before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing I didn't
Yeah.
know.
I love Bloody Marys.
With the hamburger though.
With the
I've
hamburger
never
on
had
top.
one with that. I've just
Oh.
googled them and they look really fun. I've just had like a normal Bloody Mary. I don't think it's like normal to have the little, but then they have like the little like it's like a slider and like
Yeah, people put like whole meals on top
yeah
of
like
Bloody
a
Marys.
chicken nugget and then there's like a,
Yeah.
you know just like fun shit.
I'll take the number 6 on top of the
With,
Bloody
like,
Mary.
top of the
like
Bloody
a few
Mary.
fries like
Yeah.
flayed out. I don't
That's
know.
good.
Sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
Yeah, so I want to do that. But
Okay.
my birth meal, because like so many women want sushi, but I don't know if I want sushi delivered to a hospital.
Also fair.
Oh, so the birth meal is like a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
like-
because
there's
there's some things you can't eat.
There's so much I
Right,
can't eat
got
right
it,
now.
got
It
it,
is
got it.
like killing me.
So not sushi then.
I want a Reuben.
Ooh.
Like a Reuben sandwich. I've been saying this for months, like, because I
Whoa.
can't have the Russian dress. Like, I can't have
Yeah.
mayonnaise stuff. And I can't have deli meat. And I just want a
Rye bread. Whole
Toasted.
thing.
Good.
Toasted.
with the
That's gonna be a
just,
hearty,
like, give
hearty
me a
meal.
fucking Reuben sandwich.
All at
I
once.
want it so bad. Like, I really want it now.
10 minutes after delivery, you're on Uber Eats. Just
Yeah.
Oh,
Assembling the Reuben.
literally
While
like,
she's delivering, she's like,
I
"Ah."
want it fed to me while I'm going. Like I want
yeah.
you know.
Coleslaw?
Yes.
Yeah. Got it.
Wow,
No, not coleslaw. It's not coleslaw.
Sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut.
sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Wow,
that is what I want.
that's an unexpected.
I didn't eat lunch.
pregnancy meal.
Jose, what are we thinking after?
Don't
my
you dare
gosh.
get a Reuben and don't
Don't
you
get a
dare
Reuben.
text me.
No,
in
not
front
good.
of you.
I'll be so mad.
I'm more of a club sandwich. But pastrami. Yeah, I'm with you though. I'm with
God,
you.
I just want a fucking Reuben.
You're so close.
Can you please like document that as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Reuben.
Yeah.
The post baby Reuben.
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I love it.
The baby's actually kicking really crazy right now, and I think
Because of the
there's
food talk.
There's some support here. for
Yeah, there's
Reuben.
like a yes, we're on.
But that's what I want. Give me that, please. Ty knows.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
My parting question to you is, in this moment in time, I feel like we have you at such a special moment where in the near future, you're kind of looking at a couple months of this new phase. And then right after that, back into shows and hopefully new music. So what are you looking forward to? How are you feeling?
I don't know what I'm looking forward to. And I'm very much intuitively based person where I go off, you know, I'm very much like in the moment. And then what I see in the moment that inspires me, I hyper focus on. So I don't know. I and like people have asked me this my entire career, what's next? What are you looking forward to? I'm like, I don't fucking know. The only thing I know that's guaranteed is that I'm going to have a Reuben when I give birth.
Right. At least we know that now. Yeah.
I'm excited to meet this rando that's like living in my belly. I don't even know you. You've just been like sucking the life out. Who are you? Are we cool? Like, but yeah, you know, that, and I'm excited to do more music and push things. I'm constantly being inspired by things, and I don't know what turn that ever takes me, but once it does, I'm on that journey.
Well, I will say it's been, you know, as a friend and just as a person who admires all things you do, I will say it's been so inspiring to not only see you go through this journey on a personal level, but also just to see how joyful and truly just excited you've been through the whole thing. Because I think, again, going back to all the things we've talked about, just knowing that someone can do all the things that people said they couldn't and also have an amazing time.
Let me add that was told. I was told that many times that if I got pregnant, it would ruin my career. I had someone who worked for me say, I hope you don't get pregnant because your career's over. So many people have said this to me in the past, and that's why I've reached out to this dream blunt rotation of amazing women, because they're doing it and they're killing it. And in fact, I think their career got better after. And like, I don't know, life is what you make of it, and it's going to be challenging no matter what. So yeah. You know, without going into detail, it was very, very difficult for me to get to this stage. There was a time where I didn't think I would be able to have a child. It was a big amount of time. And it was very difficult for me, and it was a very hard thing to face. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to do this right now. So, yeah.
So grateful, so happy for you. And I just can't wait, because I think you're right. We don't know what's ahead besides the Reuben.
Yeah.
But I just know that whatever it is, you're going to be, you know, having the time of your life. You're going to make great music that we're going to be looking out for. And I can't wait.
Woo. I mean, yeah, there's already music.
Oh, hell yeah. There we go. There we go. It's coming sooner than we think.
Yeah.
But anyways, we love you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much
with
for
us.
joining us.
Let's all hold hands.
Let's all hold hands.
What an amazing way to kick off the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so stoked for you guys.
You got the baby kicking off the podcast as well.
Hell yeah. There's 4 of us here right now.